Hello and welcome to Banter and Chill with your host, Inni Baby. Now, if you're listening to this for the first time, let me let you in on a little secret. You're not alone. This is my first time hosting a podcast. This is basically my first time doing this. So it's more or less like, a couple of firsts for all of us. Regardless, I am grateful that you're listening, and I would like to say one more time, welcome. This is my introductory episode into what Banter and Chill is all about. So for this episode, I'm going to answer basic questions, tell you about myself, tell you about the podcast. And since, like I said, it's an introduction, I'm going to try to keep it simple and short, like my men. Okay, so first of all, my name is Fortune Inwarikboyemi Jacob Kurabo. It's a mouthful, I know, which is why I have come up with a stage name to push my fake life. And it's why I'd rather you all refer to me as Inni Baby. For those who are still wondering, for those who still don't get it, Inni Baby is from my middle name, Inwarikboyemi. So yeah, welcome to Banter and Chill podcast with your host, Inni Baby. I think, is there anything else you need to know about me? Okay, wait, yeah. Okay, so the name is Fortune, as I already said. Currently, I like to identify as a Texas, even though I work in customer support. I know I can't be what I want to be, so if I say I'm a Texas, you will address me as a Texas. Then what else? Yeah, I live in Lagos, Nigeria, the ghetto. If you can hear this, send help. I think that's basically everything there is to know about me. Now, onto the podcast. The name is Banter and Chill. And I know some of you are thinking, sounds too much like Netflix and Chill. But even though, it's the one I thought about. So that's what you will call it. Thanks. You should find a description about this podcast. But for the purpose of, talking, I will take it again. Banter and Chill podcast is a deep dive into random and somewhat deep topics from the lens of a Nigerian woman living in Nigeria. It's very important. I cannot emphasize how important it is to mention that I am a Nigerian woman living in Nigeria, so you can see for yourself how that will really largely influence my opinions, my experiences, my worldview basically. Anyways, Banter and Chill is a place to find laughter, thought-provoking topics, and the most random, relatable gists. Okay, people who know me know that I have an abundance of random gists to give, and you'll definitely be getting an earful from me. So if this sounds like your thing, then stick around, and if not, still stick around, because where are you going to? Normally, if I ask you now, okay, where are you going to? What will you tell me you are going to do? So just stick around, please. Thank you. So yeah, as I previously said, we'll be touching on, random and somewhat deep topics, anything at all. Like, this is a safe space, is it? But this is a space where we dissect everything: relationships, sexuality, how Ijo men has come, because this podcast will not be complete if I do not mention how Ijo men has come. Honestly, those who know. So moving on, I'm going to touch briefly on why I am doing this, basically, what inspired me to start. I am an avid reader, and I don't know why I felt the need to lead with that, but yeah, I'm an avid reader. I've always loved reading and writing. Basically, my creative outlet has always been writing. Okay, this will already, tell you that I am literature inclined. But my creative outlet has always been writing. I write poems, short stories. I've never written a full-length novel though, because laziness. But that's just for another day. Anyways, one day, shout out to Bernice by the way, because one day my friend Bernice, she just talked about a podcast, and I was like, okay, why not start this? Why not do this? But think of it as your latest creative outlet. So instead of writing, you talk and you share with people. So that is how the idea that has been in my head for a while finally had legs to stand and crawl and run. Anyways, I also want to give a shout out to Adura, to EMK, to Ola as well. Thank you guys for your contribution to making sure that this whole thing kicks off. But basically, I'm starting this because I'm looking for a new creative outlet. I'm looking for something that I would be able to stick with long term. And if there's anything I love doing, it's talking. So I think we will do this for a while. We'll do this for a long time. I think all that's left to be said is podcast structure and how often I would, put out new episodes. So for now, what I can promise is once every 2 weeks. So that's twice monthly. I promise that there will be a new podcast episode to listen to. In terms of guests, will I have guests? Yes, I plan to have guests in the future. Do I have a co-host? No, there is no co-host. Will I have a co-host with time? I really do not know. But what I do know that I want is guests. But right now we are still at the bottom. We are not here. So since we're starting at the bottom to get here, when we get to the here, I hope this joke is not flying over anybody's head. In case it is, I don't know if you know that Drake song. Started from the bottom, now we're here. So I'm still at the bottom right now, so I don't think I can have guests on my podcast. But with time, definitely I would love to have guests on the show. I believe I've covered everything that needs to be said about myself and about the podcast. If you notice, I switched from saying I think to saying I believe, because that's too much thinking, even for me. So yeah. Is there anything else I need to say? Oh yes, I put Banter and Chill on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, so you can keep in touch on those platforms. And I don't want to hear, I did not know that a new episode has come out though. That's what I'm telling you now. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, you will find Banter and Chill. Just search for us. And anywhere it is that you listen to podcasts on, best believe I'm going to put this on there. Now, speaking of putting things on, I already put out 3 episodes that I might need you. English. Okay, sorry about that. I already put out 3 episodes that I will need you to listen to and give me feedback on. Fun fact, I just turned 22. Yay! So for my first 3 episodes, I'm basically talking about 22 things I have learned in my 22 Christmases on Earth. So because I do not want one episode to carry all of that and be too lengthy to listen to, is why I'm splitting it up. Me and this English. You know the funniest part? I have a Bachelor of Arts degree in English language. Any baby, rise up. Don't waste your father's money. Speak this English like you were taken to school to do. So anyways, like I was saying, I do not want one episode to be too long and too much to take in. That's why I split the same idea into 3 different episodes. Okay, now I believe I've actually covered every ground. I've actually said all that there is to be said. But before I go, please, I remind you again, follow us on our social media platforms. Wherever you listen to podcasts on, please follow, subscribe, share the podcast, very important, and also share your opinions and share your thoughts as well. So if you're here to this point, know that I appreciate you. I appreciate you for listening, and I know Loki want to marry me, because that's the only reason why you still be here listening to the sound of my voice. Okay, rewind. Okay, now I'm back and I'm behaving normally now. Anyways, thank you very much for listening. I really appreciate it. So listen to the first 3 episodes on Banter and Chill and tell me what you think. Bye.